Hi everyone, it's Mark Walmsley here. I'm the founder of the Arts and Culture Network. I use these little welcome videos to track our progress, and last week we became a public group on LinkedIn, and so we're now at 23,500 members, which is fantastic, with 150 or so new members joining every day. And some of those members go on to become full members of our gang for the additional support in promotion and networking. And one of those is Jesica Silvester, and Jess has joined me today. We've known each other for 25 years, which came as a shock. Our paths have crossed in several organizations since the mid to late 90s. And Jess has recently joined us as a full member of our Arts and Culture Network. You can find lots more about her on the website in the directory there, which is great. There'll be links wherever this appears. So Jess, welcome. This is an opportunity for us to understand what you're doing at the moment, the kind of opportunities that you would welcome hearing about, and how you're, having made the leap of faith into the freelance world, how that's going. So do you want to tell us a bit more about that, Jess?
Yeah, sure. So I went freelance in February 2022. So I've been doing it just over a year now. And I've been really lucky to work with some absolutely lovely clients. So I've been supporting people in the arts and cultural sector and charity sector with a variety of projects. So some have been research projects, writing research briefs. Some have been supporting with campaigns. Some have been supporting with communications. Some have been doing sort of desk research to help them move into new products or markets. And then I also support a multi-academy primary school trust with strategic communications, website usability, social media on a day-to-day basis across that as well. So I have a real interest in music and arts, particularly, and music and education, and how we can increase education in schools and for children and young people. And I'm also trustee of Wandsworth Music, something I'm very proud to be because of the value they bring to music in the borough for lots of different children. So I love music, I love the arts, I love education. I'm very happy to help with any projects that people may feel I'm useful for in that area.
And you're London based? I
am London based, yes, but happy to do things remotely or travel relatively locally.
No, that's great. Thank you very much, Jess. I posted something recently that will be close to your heart. You might have seen it. You might even have commented on it. I did a post. It was a picture of the Guards band at the coronation, the recent coronation, and underneath it was a school instrumental tuition setting, and I think I called it "Want This."
If you want this, you need this. Yeah, I did comment on it.
Oh, you did,
it's absolutely true. If you don't support grassroots music, you won't have the elite orchestras of tomorrow.
No. So I also think we should have a no music day, just to demonstrate how worse off we would be without it. There should be a day when there's no elevator music, there's no background music, there's no radio, there's no music on television. There should be no music day, just to sort of bring it home to us how important it is.
Yeah, how intrinsic it is to so many people. It's part of their culture, their life, you know.
Yes,
it's so important.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the it is absolutely one of those things that you don't realize the importance of until it's not there.
Yeah.
And there are some lovely sayings, aren't there? You know, music has has the power to let you forget anything or remember everything.
Yeah.
You know, one of those.
And people do associate, you know, those key events in their lives with a piece of music or something that happened.
They do, yeah. And it's interesting. Somebody also did a really interesting experiment. They changed the music of famous film sequences. So you've got sort of like a Benny Hill thing running through Gladiator. It just doesn't work, right? And it's quite incredible how the right music at the right time at the right place can just heighten the experience. It sort of transcends.
Yeah,
it's great. And so, what about? I have some spiky views on the future of classical music. And the debate goes on about, do we allow the genre to slip into the realms of nostalgia and stay there, or how do we introduce people to contemporary classical music? It's a real conundrum. Where are you on the audience development debate spectrum?
I think all music has a place, and I think you can't make people like music they're not going to like. So I think we have a duty to make sure that lots of different music is available to people, and it's as accessible as possible. And then people will choose the music that they enjoy, and they won't listen to the music that they don't enjoy. And I think sometimes the programming where you force people to sit through a piece that they're not going to enjoy for the piece that they do like may not always be helpful, because at the end of the day, everyone has personal taste. And I think as long as you're offering a variety, then people will choose what they like. And that may be classical, it may be jazz, it may be R&B. Like every music is very personal to people. And I think it would be a shame to lose some of, I don't want to lose the great classics. I love the great classics, but I also love contemporary music, and I also love jazz. I like some musicals, Yeah. People like lots of different music, and it often changes on a day-to-day basis, doesn't it? One day you might want to listen to something very peaceful. The next day you want something that motivates you. I think that's what's so special about music. It calls to people on different days and in different circumstances.
Yes, absolutely. I'm with you on that. And my tastes are eclectic in that respect, and they do change from day to day. But in terms of, because you and I both spent time at the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra together, I guess orchestral symphony orchestras are sort of, we would have a view. I did a poll at one of our CBSO concerts. It was probably when we were there together. I wanted to know, I was only on in the first half. I was probably playing some contemporary music in the first half as a percussionist. And I wanted to know, the place was packed, which was great. I wanted to know what percentage of the audience had actually made the decision to attend. So I did a poll at the interval, and I asked them as they came out. It wasn't scientific by any means, but it turns out that only 24% of the people who attended that concert made the decision to go. And so we started talking about the concept of super peers. How do we reach these people? It kind of made sense, because if you go to a restaurant, and if nobody's eating on their own, and only 50% of the people in that restaurant decided to be there. So it's trying to identify those people. But the other thing I learned, this story might have grown in the telling, I must admit, but I gather a survey was conducted at the Royal Festival Hall to try and establish the extent to which the average age of a concert goer at the Festival Hall in London had changed since it opened in 1952, and it hasn't. It's 38, which I thought was surprisingly young, but it hasn't changed, and that's an indictment potentially. It rather suggests that all attempts to attract a younger audience to classical concerts have failed over that period. But there are an awful lot of 38-year-olds in London who've never set foot in the Royal Festival Hall, for whom Beethoven's Third would be a challenge, right? So I think I had a wonderful conversation once with Joseph Kluger. He was the CEO of the Philadelphia Orchestra. You were probably at the conference at which I met him, I should think. He said, we've given up on people between the ages of 15 and 30. And but he then very quickly said, we'll get them later, like blue cheese, red wine, and Shakespeare. We'll get them later. And it was, I mean, you'll be, this will be something you'll be familiar with. When you have a finite marketing budget, you have to try and find the line of least resistance often. And yes, it's great if a 17-year-old listens to The Rite of Spring and falls in love with classical music that way, but that's not the norm. It's a real change. Sorry, I'm on my soapbox now, aren't I?
No, I think people come to different types of music at different stages in life, and you will get people who are playing in youth orchestras who love classical music who will go and listen from a younger age. But for a lot of people, that isn't on their radar. until later, and then they may listen to Classic FM or a lighter classical concert, and then they might find that they love it, and then they may come to more difficult classical music, if you want to call it that, over time. And I don't think anyone should. I think sometimes there's a snobbery if you only like the lighter classical music, and I think that's wrong. If you're getting enjoyment from that, then it's as valuable an experience for those people as listening to Mahler for somebody else.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think I went through that process myself when, my capacity to enjoy Rachmaninoff and Tchaikovsky when I was in my teens has changed significantly, since then. I need a bit more now. I need Mahler and Bruckner at that point. Whereas in my teens, Rachmaninoff was a real attractive challenge. Anyway, I think we should have a longer conversation about this and pull a few other people in. We can get Stephen in, Stephen Maddock in, now that he's moved on. Jess, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for having the chin wag moment.
No worries.
And thanks again for being a full member of our gang. I think I can feel we need to do a webinar, a 10-minute speed webinar, or we could do an after party topical debate at one of our events on the future of classical music and see who turns up. That would be quite fun.
Thank you.
Jess.